What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. We tried out the VORTEX PINNCLE 10.1 PTR. I'm trying it on my Resto Shaman. We have Entangling and Afflicted in here. You're never going to have these two affixes together. We just wanted to try them together. And then I have the tier set bonus for Resto Shaman, which basically says when you cast Healing Rain, anybody that has Riptide on them will get hit with an extra heal. And then that extra heal increases all your healing. So kind of cool. Really interesting, but I want to mostly focus on the dungeon, the VORTEX PINNCLE dungeon itself. I want to talk about the mechanics that are in here, and we're going to start with this opening pack. Cyclone is the big one that's coming through here. This will banish you. And then there's these guards that do Cloud Guard, very annoying, but banishing's really annoying. You can't do anything when you're banished. So you need to kick banish, very likely. It's very important you need to kick that. But the wind burst that they do is also really annoying for casters, in that it will push you back. Wind Bolt pushes you back when you get hit by it, which it does a little bit of damage. This doesn't even have Fortified. If this was a Fortified dungeon, this would be very, very dangerous. But the Wind Bolt pushes back caster, so it interrupts you. Right there, it interrupted me from casting Healing Rain. And it interrupted me again. So you can see how frustrating that's going to be in a real key. Here's an Afflicted guy. I try to heal this one up. I heal this one up, and then I kick this other one. So you can see I dealt with both of them on my own. Not a big deal there. These Cloud Guards are really annoying. There's two of them on this platform right here. This is like probably the most annoying platform in this dungeon. They have an anti-melee mechanic, which is this big circle, which you need to get out over. You take giga damage and get knocked up in the air. You can watch my friends come flying down here. There they go. And then there's obviously Cloud Guard, which stops frontals. Like any spells that you're casting will be blocked. So very annoying mobs to deal with. On Fortified, these guys are just going to be super, super annoying. You might even want to blow, like... Actually, no, you probably wouldn't want to blow Bloodlust. I don't know what you do about these guys. They're just super annoying. That's the bottom line. They can't be stunned. None of that stuff. So, very annoying stuff right there. Oh, there's Entangling. I want to show Gust of Wind. I don't use it here. I just run away. In Ghostful form, you can see Entangling there. But I'll show you Gust of Wind is perfect for Entangling. Couple more Afflicteds here. I end up triggering this Lurking Tempest by accident. I think I throw a Lava Burst at it, and you're going to see in a second here, the Lurking Tempest gets up and does like giga damage to all of us. So he's actually up right now behind us. We can't see him. We're about to take a bunch of damage. Unbeknownst to us, boom, there's that like big lightning bolt coming in from that guy behind us. So I'm not sure. There it is there. You have to interrupt him, I guess. If you end up triggering him, you have to interrupt him. I'm not entirely sure how he works, to be honest. But here's a bunch more Wind Boys. And there's the Entangling. Here's my Gust of Wind here. Boom. Instantly breaks my Entangling. So Entangling's not really an issue. As far as I have seen in the keys that I've done so far, it has not been an issue. Of course, I've played Paladin and Shaman, which I think are probably one of the better classes at dealing with Entangling. But just know that I don't think it's going to be a big issue. You can see everybody else in this key is also dealing with it just fine. So not a huge problem. I had a big haste debuff on me there. Very annoying. They're Cyclone once again. So these mobs are just kind of really annoying. I think this dungeon on Incorporeal weeks is going to be a nightmare. Because you need to kick Wind Bolt. You need to kick Cyclone for sure. Or stun it. And then there's going to be the Incorporeal ads spawning. You're going to need to kick them or stun them as well. And they usually spawn in pairs. Like, so I don't know. I'm not really sure what to say. I think Incorporeal week's going to be really, really bad for this dungeon in particular. There's Entangling. And I have triple ad spawn. So I'm trying to Healing Surge that one, boom, and then the Monk helps me on the third one. So you can see sometimes you get, anyway, you're never going to have this overlap in a real dungeon, but you can see a lot of mechanics will start to add up over time. We'll move forward to this mechanic here. This is the Cloud Prince. He does an ability called Turbulence, and that's going to do crazy AoE damage and knock you back. So you have to be really careful that you don't get knocked back into the little dude that's over here in the background right now. You can't even see him. Then they spawn a zone under your feet, and then Entangling was also going off. So you can see the cascading mechanics that end up happening. We end up breaking through all of them. It's not a big deal, but you need to be paying attention, man. There's a lot of mechanics going on in these dungeons on these weeks that have Entangling, and then, just if you had Entangling plus the damage coming out from the Prince guy, plus the pushback, you got to be really careful there. So another Lurking Tempest. You don't want to touch him. Again, these guys are... This is double Cloud Prince. This might be one of the most difficult pulls in the dungeon on Fortify Week. double turbulence is a lot of damage. Now, I'm popping cooldowns here. I had AG running there to heal it up. Here comes second turbulence. I don't have AG running anymore. I'm just relying on big chain heals. And I pop Spirit Walker's Grace so I can move and cast at the same time. And so I don't get knocked into that Lurking Tempest. But very dangerous pack. These two Cloud Princes are super dangerous. There's the Tempest. He doesn't do anything, so I don't know. I think sometimes he might cast something and then you're kind of in trouble, but not really sure there. Okay, now we're moving on to the first boss. This boss is interesting. If you're standing outside of these tornadoes at the beginning of the fight, then you get zapped and you'll basically die really quickly. So you got to get inside the tornadoes. Then the boss is going to pull all the tornadoes to them and then do a bunch of AoE damage. So you need to get out of the middle when that happens. It's happening right now. I think he starts casting it after this lightning bolt. There you go. Get out of the middle, and then big AoE damage. So healers need to pump here. On Tyrannical Weeks, this is just going to murder you. Like, very difficult on Tyrannical Weeks. I think you also do need to be kicking those Raging Tempests. I'm not sure. Somebody let me know. I can't remember. I haven't done this dungeon in a long time, but the Raging Tempest didn't seem to be doing much. Maybe if you get knocked into them, it's a big deal. There was also an Afflicted spawn at the same time, so if you had Afflicted going on, this would be really annoying. Entangling is really annoying here. I don't know if Entangling was just bugged, but it didn't seem to spawn on this boss fight. So I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, big healing required for this boss fight. It kind of looks simple at first, but it actually... There's Entangling. Sorry, never mind. Take it back. So I got lucky on my timing there, but depending on when Entangling spawns in this boss fight, I feel like you're going to be just euchred. Like, you might just be dead. So anyway, tough fight. Especially on Tyrannical, to be tough. We had a bunch of people die here. And then I think we had the Warrior DC after this, or the Volvin guy. He was the Enhancement Shaman DC'd, I think, after this. Oh, never mind. He's up right now. Anyway, we're good. I needed a hammer, kind of. But anyway, we're jumping forward. Then the monk decides to pull both sides of this. You don't have to pull both sides of this. And I would not recommend doing that. It's very dangerous. I don't know why he did this. Not a good idea, but you only have to go up one side of this. But they spawn these clouds that put lightning going on the ground. Very, very deadly. This blew every one of my cooldowns as a healer. It was insane how much damage was coming through here. So the shaman dies again. I think he was just standing in the cloud. Entangling's going off. So this is a very deadly pull once again. So many pulls here are like just nasty for the healer. We'll just have to see how this kind of goes. But again, this isn't even fortified week. Imagine if this was fortified. Like, you would have to be just rolling in healing cooldowns here. I think I get a sentence at the very end here, and I pop it. We end up just kiting, which the best part about these mobs is you can just kind of kite away from the clouds that they put down on the ground. So it's not like it is doable, but you're limited in the amount of space you have. So you got to be really careful. So anyway, very nasty pull. I get Entangling here. I just jump through. Gust of Wind is so good for Entangling. And then we pull this mini boss. This is a dragon. If you guys remember from the old version of this dungeon, he used to put a healing pool on the ground. He doesn't do that anymore. He does this big chilling breath, and then he also does like an ice like AoE damage thing going on. So we're all taking AoE ticking damage right now from the ice. That's unavoidable. The breath is avoidable, so you can get away from that. So make sure that you do that. Not much else going on, but there's the breath again. He does big AoE damage. You got to be careful. There's my healing rain heal. It gets better. Yeah, just lots of healing requirement on this dungeon. This is going to be, I think, kind of similar to like a Temple of the Jade Serpent that we have right now, or like a Ruby Life Pools, where it just requires a ton of extra healing for this entire dungeon. Yeah. Then we get past these Howling Gales. These are supposed to kind of knock you back if you don't damage them, so make sure you do some kind of damage to them. Then you can skip this dragon. This is another one of those dragons. You can actually skip it entirely, which is great. We don't even need Shroud. You can just skip it easily. Then I'd say, can we just pull one side of this, please? And he decides to pull both sides once again, so whatever. Actually, you might have to pull all 5 of these. Yeah, you might have to pull. I'm probably wrong about that. So that's my fault. I think I thought you could only pull one side, but I think you have to pull both. Anyway, more storm clouds, lots of tank damage, really difficult pull here. You need to be pumping as much damage as you can. Thankfully, our enhancement shaman was still here. He ends up leaving later, but Similar stuff going on there. Then it's the second boss. This is actually a really fun boss. There's different zones in this area that either you're going fast or you're going slow, right? So you'll be speedy or you'll be slowed down. So right now, the wind has come out. A wind abruptly shifts the direction at Altairus' command. So you can see, depending on the icon on our frames here, if you're green, that means you're in the good zone. If you're red, you're in the bad zone. And you're just gonna have to work out which side of the boss you want to stand on. If you're in the good zone, you get like 30% haste and movement speed. If you're in the bad zone, it's of course the opposite. So I'm in the bad zone right now, trying to get over to the good one there. I finally get over to it over here. I think the big strategy on this boss that you're going to want to do is stay really close to the boss. Because if you stay close to the boss, you can quickly adjust which side of the boss you're going to be on. And that way you can make sure that you're standing in the haste area. But as long as you maximize your uptime in the haste zone of this boss fight, it'll be an easy boss fight. But they did add, I think, this chilling breath, which the other dragons had as well. And if you get hit by this, you're taking a ton of damage. Like on tyrannical weeks, you will die to this. So it's all about managing your haste buff, not standing in the debuff area. You got to be careful about that. Don't get knocked up by the tornadoes. It's not an easy fight, actually. It used to be, I think, a lot easier. On, like, high tyrannical, this is going to be very hard. So, yeah. I think it's a fun fight, though. As long as you're kind of managing your movement. I think I had an Entangling there. So, Entangling will make this even harder, right? But, yeah. Bottom line, use your mobility wisely. And make sure that you stay on the haste buff as long as you can. There you can see our Enhancement Shaman has now DC'd. Now, the back half of this dungeon is kind of weird, and you can actually skip a large portion of the ads that are here. So you can actually skip this trash pack. I think you should actually kill this trash pack. I don't think you should skip it. These guys decide that we're going to skip it. So I said, you should kill the adept. But anyway, you can run over here. You just sap one of these mobs, or you can actually... Oh, I fell off. That's right. You can actually just jump past this mob, or like Warlock Gate would work, whatever you want to do. If you fall off in this dungeon, you get sent back to the beginning, but there are slipstreams that can help you get back to wherever you're trying to go. So it's actually perfectly fine. You just take a slipstream. It doesn't actually lose that much time. This will send me back to exactly where we were. So that was kind of good. And then I'm able to run past this mob and not fall off. But ideally, I think you should actually just kill that pack right there. And then this pack up here, you should skip 110%. And we decide to pull it for some reason. I don't know why. These adepts are so dangerous because they cast greater heal. And it's very fast, the cast time. So, I'll try and show you when they're casting it here. Entangling goes off. I got to get out of there. There we go. And then they're casting greater heal right there. There's another greater heal going off on the adept. And he got it off, so he's just healing somebody. So if greater heals start going off, you literally just lose. You lose. You can't win at all. So ideally, I think you should skip this pack. That will be my recommendation, is to skip this pack. You can see we'll go up here, and we're going to sap it this time. We sap this adept, and you can run past. And the patrol, make sure the patrol's not obviously patrolling where you are. Then I think you just kill this pack of stars. Okay? Which actually does a ton of damage. You need to CC these guys and blow them up. Then you need to kill the rest of this trash here, or else you won't have enough trash to finish the dungeon. So we try and sap and blind one of these. I think you should just kill. I think you should actually just sap one of the adepts, or like paralyze them or whatever, banish them, whatever you want to do, and then take on all 4 of these with the adept. We were down in DPS, so this isn't going to work out, but this is how you should do this pull. You actually don't need to CC both the adepts. I think you could just CC one of them. But anyway, we end up dying, and then the rest of the dungeon kind of goes south after that. And because we're kind of down at DPS, so it doesn't work out very well. One thing that's cool, though, I want to show you. Oh, these guys end up dying. That's okay. There's another skip over here to the left. You don't actually have to... Let's say you want to kill other trash earlier on in the dungeon. You can actually just skip a bunch of these guys and go to the left. And jump down here, and you can kind of skip a bunch of so I'm telling them we need percentage, but you can actually skip all the way to the end. So it's just kind of cool to know that you can do that. But really, you do need to pull the rest of that trash if you want to be successful here. We end up not doing that. It's okay. I end up falling off. We have a little bit of trouble. I get all the way back. I'll show you the last boss fight. So you need to kill these last stars. These are worth percentage. I think they're worth about 3 or 4%. Maybe just 3. 65, 66, 67. Yeah, only 2% actually. Here's the final boss fight. This is pretty cool. As a healer, there's an important mechanic here. And it's going to be called, I think it's called Static Discharge or Static Strike or something. Let me see what he does here. Static Cling. So he does Static Cling. He's going to immobilize 2 people. So the rogue is immobilized and I'm immobilized right now. Of course, if you have Blessing of Freedom, if you have Disengage as a hunter, if you have like a million other things, Spirit Walk can break this. But if nobody has any way to break this, then as a healer, you need to immediately dispel somebody. And then you need to wait. And he's doing this unstable ground. You need to get in this triangle that he's forming. And then I need to dispel myself right away. So you have enough time to do both dispels before the triangle goes off, is what I'm trying to say. But he does this triangle. You need to get in this zone that he's creating or you're dead. These guys are about to die. Boom, boom, and they're dead. Just like that. So you have to stand in this triangle to stay alive. So then we have Entangling. I have to jump out of the Entangling. I didn't even realize that. I guess I ended up getting stunned because I wasn't paying attention. That might be a nightmare. But then I'm rooted again, so I can dispel myself, dispel somebody else, and I'm good. But these guys didn't know how to do the fight. So anyway, that is the Vortex Pinnacle. I think my conclusions are that Afflicted is fine. Entangling is actually fine. It might be a nightmare on this final boss. I think Incorporeal is going to be really, really bad. And I think that the second half of the dungeon with all the these mobs here, I'm not really sure how you're going to want to tackle this. I think it's going to be really difficult to do this, especially on Fortified Week. So it's going to be really interesting to see what routes people are going to come up with, what skips they're going to come up with, because I think there's a really big opportunity to do some skips in this dungeon. I just don't know exactly where you want to do it. But ultimately, the dungeon feels fine to me. I think it's actually okay. You're going to need a lot of kicks on the opening trash. A lot of kicks in this entire dungeon are going to be required. So we'll just have to wait and see how that kind of works. I think Incorporeal could be a really big nightmare on this dungeon. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think about the Vortex Pinnacle Mythic Plus? Do you think it's going to be easy, hard, tyrannical, fortified? Do the bosses look fun? I think the bosses are fine. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.